Hello, how's it going? Today we are back with another how to go fast video. This time we've travelled to the Whilton Mill Kart Circuit to hack around the international layout in the Biz Kart Evo 3s. They've had these karts for just over 2 years now, and looking at them on the day, I think they're definitely due for a new fleet soon. The sessions that I did on the day were two 20-minute sessions with a 10-minute break in between. The first session was pretty damp with some drizzle coming down around midway through, and towards the end of the second session the track was a lot drier with a couple of damp patches around, so we could get a mostly dry lap in. Anyway, let's crack on with the hot lap and I'll be back after to go through it in more detail. Time to send it. Alright, let's get into the hot lap in more detail. So as we're approaching this last corner, the last section will be different from what you'll come across today, but the exit onto the straight is just as important. So it's crucial as you're coming up to this corner to get as much use out of this runoff as you're allowed on the day, because it's all going to help you with your run up to the line to start your lap to get the best start possible. On the approach to Oblivion, you need to make sure to be as far to the right as possible and get a nice late apex as you come in through the corner. And then you want to make sure to stay as far to the left as possible here. As you'll see, we want to get a nice late apex onto here, but what this does is it opens up the corner onto the straight, because this is a long run all the way up to Christmas corner. On the runoff, usually in the dry I'll have 2 wheels over this curb, but just because of this massive water patch at the minute, I'm keeping it on this curb like as far as I want to go out, because even on this now I'm losing tyre temperature for the turning into Christmas corner because I'm driving over the water. So approaching Christmas corner, you need to be as far to the left hand side as possible, and you want to be getting on the brakes as you're getting in line with this marshal post just here. Getting a nice late apex. You can take a lot of speed into this corner because it cambers in towards the apex. So as you're coming through, you'll be taking more speed than you think you can as you're approaching it. And making sure to get right onto the left hand side here, maybe leave a cart width up to the grass. Make sure you're keeping this corner nice and open so you're not screwing off too much speed trying to get around the first left incomings. This tyre barrier can sometimes be on the grass or completely over the curb, but wherever the tyre barrier is, you want to get as close to it as possible. So if it's up on the top here, you want to be using all of this curb. If it's down the bottom, you want to get as close to the curb as you can. So the further down the tyre wall is, the wider you need to be on your entry into this area, because you don't want to make it too sharp, because you'll be scrubbing off your speed for the rest of the run down to the bottom of Ashby. So as you come through, you want to stay mid to right hand side track here. And then this curb is nice and flat, so you can get all your wheels over that, and then use all the track on the exit down to the Ashby corner. So into Ashby hairpin, we want to be getting on the brakes around this small dirt path area here, and then nice and hard on the brakes in a straight line, get turned in, still holding the brake a little bit, trail braking into the corner. You want to be getting onto this curb with your right 2 wheels. I miss it on this lap, but that's ideally where you want to be. 2 wheels over here, and then getting the nice wide exit onto this runoff area to get as good of a run as possible up this small incline into Parkers. So on the entrance to Parkers, we want to be using this area of the Zulu section that goes across the track here. but we can use this as our turn-in to make the angle for this corner as great as possible, so we can keep as much momentum going through it. It's very close to being flat out this, a small lift on the apex if anything, but you want to be right over the right hand side, turning up, turning into the corner around here, get as close to the curb as you can without hitting it, because it's not a vicious curb, but it's not one that you want to run. You want to get as close as you can, like your two wheels, right at the bottom of the curb here, and then make sure to go right on the outside. You don't want to hit this because this will bottom out your kart and you'll end up over here somewhere, and you'll just end up having to put the brake on to stop yourself from going over. So you want to get as close as you can as it, and then using this little bit of tarmac to keep your momentum up. So as we're entering Chapman's, the braking point is going to be in line with this marshal post. So on the brakes there, nice late turn in with also a very late apex, because this gives you the run all the way down the back straight, two wheels over this curb to keep the angle as wide as possible, drift back over to about 3/4 across the track, and then set yourself back up for the boot. Again, on the entrance to the boot, we're going to be using this marshal post as our braking point. So as we're approaching, we're going to be right on the right hand side, on the brakes, in line with the marshal post. And this curb here can be a bit different depending on which day you go, because sometimes this tyre wall will be completely on the curb, sometimes it'll be just inside the drop of the curb here. So if it's like this, you want to be using as much of this curb as you possibly can, because this curb drags you around the corner. You get up and on it, it keeps the rotation in the kart, because ideally you don't want to be over here unless you're making an overtake. If you're not making an overtake, you want to be as close to this pit lane line as you can to get a great run into this next second part of the boot, right hand up. But obviously here we're going to have the new section of the track. So if as you're coming around here now, you want to be keeping a slightly lower apex speed than what I carry into the corner, and keeping a tighter line. But with the old circuit, it was keeping as much momentum as possible, using all of this track here, keeping a nice wide line all the way to the last corner. But now you want to be, I'd say, around mid-track, and then you're getting close to this curb, and then following it round for the new section where this marshal post would have been. So if you're coming out here, that's way too wide. You're going to be losing lots of speed trying to get back onto the right section of the track. To the new circuit, you'll be a lot tighter to the inside here to get a good run. But for the old circuit, we're going to keep it drifting nice and wide, coming up to this curb on the outside. This is going to be your turning point around just after the start of the curb. And you get a nice sharp turn in to get a bit of rotation in the kart, as these karts are quite understeery. You don't want to be hitting this curb at all. You want to get as close to it as you can without touching it, and then using as much of the track as you can on the exit, and then making sure you get a good run up to the start finish line to finish your lap. Now that the lap is finished, let's get down to the opinion of the venue. So I feel like this circuit has got very good layout, especially on the international circuit. I haven't tried out the new last section just yet, because when I recorded this video it was a few weeks before the new layout was announced, and I've always enjoyed the original international layout, and the Zulu to be fair also. But as for the karts, I do prefer the Biz Karts to the Sodis that they used to have, but the fleet is definitely on its last legs. It's a few years old now, and you can tell that they're definitely due for an upgrade. But definitely with a new fleet, I'd put this venue way up in the top, and like one of the top of the UK for corporate racing. So hopefully it happens in the near future. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to drop a like if it's helped you in any way. Also drop a comment on your thoughts of the venue, and remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this around other circuits in the UK. I'll catch you in the next one.